So we have a wages control question here. So we got some information here about the expenditure that's going on in here. You've got 3 journals to produce, and then you've got some options here in terms of to fill in the names really and create the debits and credits. A 12-mark question. Now I think you should probably be taking about 8 minutes for this question, so I'll come back in 8 minutes. I'm going to go through it, and the reason why it's going to take 8 minutes is because there's a very specific way that I say to set out the wages control question, which gets you 100% of the marks all the time, and you can never go wrong with it. So 8 minutes for this one. See if you follow and do exactly the way that I do it. So another 2 minutes left. Hopefully we get on with it now. Okay, so that's time on this question. Let's now go through how to answer it. Okay. And the wages control question is one where we've got 12 marks here, and students often actually get nothing on this question. And the reason why is because they're trying to sort of invent their own little ways of coming up with the answers to this one. Actually, in this situation, the examiner's been very generous in terms of the way in which they've set this question out, because you actually use every number in it. Quite often, the examiner gives you numbers that you don't use in the thing, but you have to have them to create the actual answer of other ones, but you don't use them you're not actually going to plug them in there, and that's where students most often get it wrong. So let's just go through the steps really, so we can always get this 100% right all the time. So step one is to create a table here. So in this table, you're going to put total expenses first of all, a little bit further down, gross wages, and then net wages in here. So you're going to create these three lines in here. That's the first part of creating this table. You'll be given one of the total expenses, the gross wages, or the net wages. You'll only be given one of those ones. So here we are, wages expense, which is the total expense in there of that figure. So that was a total figure, and you drop that in. You've now got the other numbers here, and you're going to drop them in there. So you've got employers' expenses, which go above the gross wages to get to the total expense, and employees' expenses, which go below the gross wages to get to the net wages. Here. So we've got income tax here, which is an employees' expense. Employers' national insurance, inclusion title, employers' national insurance, employers' expense, employees' national insurance, employees' expense. There could have been pension contributions, employers' pension contributions, which would be employers' expense, and employees' pension contribution with employees' expense. We've also got these voluntary deductions here, which are trade union fees, and they are an employee's expense. So we drop those into the table here. And so this is what our table now looks like in here. And now we can so we're going to deduct the employer's national insurance off the total expense to get to the gross wages. And then we're going to deduct these employees' expenses to get to the net wages. Yeah, and that's how you create these other two numbers in here. Now let's say you were given the gross wages instead of the total expense there though, then you put that one in there, you'd put these around, and then you'd add that onto the gross wages to get to the total expenses. Or if you were given the net wages, then you put that in there and you build it up. So that's how you create all the numbers that you need for this question. Yeah, is you create first of all you create a table in there, and you'll only be given one of these three. Then you'll be given these figures here, and you put them in the table in the right place, and then you build the numbers up there. Now, students, that is issue number one that students do. They try and create their own equations in their head, and don't do that. It just makes life hard. No point in that one. Yeah. Right, okay, so do we go to the answers now? No, we definitely don't go to the answers straight away. No, we don't. We now create a set of journals in here. So from this table up here, we create our journals. So the first one is we create the wages control credit journal here. So debit wages expense. So that's how our wages expense hits. And so you see this wages expenses here just sort of hanging out, sort of saying, "Oh, please use me in the answer." No, you're not going to use it in the answer. You've got to go debit wages expense, credit wages control. Unless the answer was actually asking you, could you put in whatever the wage, create the wages expense journal, in which case it would be debit wages expense, credit wages control. So that's that journal. Yeah. Then we create the HMRC, the payment to the for taxes journal. Yeah. Which is the income tax, employers' national insurance, and employers' national insurance. And you can see we're going debit wages control, credit that control account, and here's the trade union one, debit that wage control, credit that control account, and then debit this one. Then we're going to pay the actual wages. So we're going to debit the wages control. I'm going to pay off the bank. Now we could actually, these could be payments as well, really. So we could this could be just a payment out in terms of to HMRC. So we've created now our journals. Do we now go and put the answers in? No, we don't go and put the answers in. We now produce our T accounts for the wages control. Here's the wages control T account here. Put the numbers in from your journals in there and check that it balances. If it balances now, so that the carry down is 0, then you know you're right. You've got the right figures here, and these are then your journals. And now you drop them into the answer, and there's the answer there. Okay, so that's how to do this wages control question, and also how to get 12 out of 12 every time without ever going wrong.